lovely Protoss.
Absolutely is. Spawning over in the top right-hand side, representing Team Psystorm, it is Gerald.
And in the bottom left side, also representing Team Psystorm, we're looking at the main base of the Danish Phenom. Can he make another playoff run this season? It is MaxPax.
I actually like both of these guys, and I think they're both good for very different reasons as well. Like,
would
Gerald,
you say Gerald is good, Ben?
Yeah, I'd say he's absolutely good. I know, okay. Kevin, I know. Sometimes you watch my stream and I take a map off him here and there. And then you watch Hero Marine's stream, and Hero Marine's having his like daily session of, hey, I'm playing Gerald 5 games in a row here, or 10 games in a row. But no, Gerald's absolutely a solid player. Like, he often sits around 6.5k MMR on the ladder, which is damn good. I know a lot of times you'll be like, oh, it's not even 7k, but like, you know, 6.5 is still damn good. But yeah, when it comes to Gerald, I just feel like he's a hard worker, you know? Like, he really trains a lot, practices a ton. I like what he's doing this game, by the way.
I was just teasing you, Benjamin. You know, I have to neither you a little bit every now and then. That's what friends are for. But I know that you think Gerald is good. And I like what you say about hard worker, but... Speaking of hard workers, man, MaxPax is even playing the Korean Weekly these days, and he made it into the semi-finals of the Korean Weekly. That happens on Saturday. So while playing from Europe, he made it into the money in the Korean Weekly on the Saturday, and I think that's very, very impressive. He's pulling a reverse Zest and Cure over here.
Absolutely. I mean, it's actually insane what he's able to do. But yeah, I wasn't saying that he wasn't a hard worker, Kevin. It's just... when he first showed up on the scene, like, as I say, none of us really knew where he was from. Like, Beastie released this video about this Russian lad with this random build, the MaxPax, you know?
I don't know if Beastie ever said he's Russian, though, Ben.
Oh, did he not?
I don't think
he did. How did we all think
he
was Russian?
I don't know. I think some people just thought he was Russian, and I think you went with it for a while, but I don't think we can actually put this on Beastie. I do not believe that Beastie has ever said that MaxPax is Russian.
Oh, okay. I swear, you know, I heard him say MaxPax like 100 times in that video, but, you know, I swear he's called him Russian, or thought he was, but either way, he just enjoyed StarCraft 2, loved playing it. When we've done the interviews with him, we're like, well, how did you get so good? He's like, oh, I just really like the game, and I played it a lot, you know? So it didn't even come across as work for him. It was just something that he truly enjoyed, and it just sat very well with him.
Yeah, but that's the way it should be, of course, as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if anybody starts playing now, tries to get good only because of work or because you want to make some money. I mean, Rainer has said that too. That's not really the right attitude. Ooh, that adept almost got in. Good job there by Gerald, keeping the adept at bay. Yeah, you have to enjoy the game. Otherwise, there is no way you can force yourself to play as much as these guys are. And I mean, we talk about the Korean Weekly, but MaxPax also plays the American Weekly each and every single Monday night. By the time that finishes up, it's 5 a.m. for him on a Tuesday. I think that kind of shows the amount of passion and dedication these guys have. I gotta say, it's very weird how they both have a Twilight Council. They both have actually, there's a second gate. I guess that's the one little advantage that Gerald has here. He's a little bit out of position to deal with his Oracle, because things are awfully similar, except for the fact that MaxPax has an Oracle out, and Gerald did not.
Weird how that worked, right? Oh,
yeah.
I do like Gerald's defense, by the way. Like, I know recalling and then recalling the battery, but he waited until the battery ran out of total energy, and now here he's got 3 Stalkers against an army that can't deal with that. Gets the Adept and stuff, but no, you're totally right. Like, it looks so even between them, except MaxPax just has an extra unit and an extra tech.
Now, obviously, Gerald did let that pylon finish up in the natural, so he lost that pylon and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty bizarre. The Twilight is pretty much identical. The Nexus timing in the natural is identical. But then MaxPax somehow managed to find the resources to get a Stargate and an Oracle out. I'm like, well, I feel like something isn't adding up here. And then Gerald did have a slightly quicker second gateway, so his Stalker count is going to be a bit higher. But I'm gonna say then I do like it for MaxPax, because having an Oracle out, A, gives you a lot of information, and B, it forces your opponent to respect it.
Yeah, like if you're wondering back at home, like what advantage does this possibly give MaxPax? Well, he can take a third base quite a bit faster than his opponent. That Oracle, not only is it good scouting information, but it makes sure those Stalkers, you have to keep a decent amount in each mineral line just to make sure things are going okay, but Gerald's doing a good job of just spotting where that Oracle is at the time, and maybe this is his opportunity to take a third, which on that little blue dot on the map, that's exactly what he's going for.
Gerald does have a slightly quicker forge. His +1 is already going. MaxPax hasn't started his +1 yet, but the forge is done, so he shouldn't fall too far behind in that department. I'm actually surprised that MaxPax feels like he's got the kind of army to move out. This feels pretty random to me, but he does have slightly quicker blink, so he's going to show up right when he has blink, and Gerald doesn't. I don't know how he can be convinced that this is the case when he's the one who opened up with the Stargate, but it's kind of happening.
I mean, yeah, and he sees the units in the main with the Oracle as well, so he counts the army. He's like, well, I got quite a bit more than this, and Gerald takes a fight a little bit too soon, but MaxPax? I mean, Gerald's kind of lucky he doesn't pounce, but very nice control by both of them, actually, but MaxPax has the high ground, he has the numbers as well, the Guardian Shield does wear off, but oh, that was a sad boy.
Yep, made a little mistake there and was busy dealing with the Oracle. Now that Nexus is actually in a bit of danger, and I think that MaxPax may be able to get a cancel on this Nexus. My goodness, I cannot believe the amount of damage that MaxPax just dealt with a 6 Stalker move out. Maybe you can blink. Yeah, I was about to say, you can just blink home. That's amazing. That is almost game-ending damage, because Gerald now, he's working with the exact same units, but he's just going to have less for a long time, and that is a very unpleasant situation to be in.
Yeah, and I was just looking at Gerald's money as well. Like, he went up to about 800-900 there. And then I saw 4 gateways come down along with his Nexus, like his 3rd Nexus. So in so many ways, he's very far behind. He's super supply blocked as well right now. I know he has a few pylons on the way, but it feels like he just fell apart in the blink of an eye.
I don't know if Gerald's going to try to blink into the main base and find some damage that way. This is obviously a bit risky because he has no idea where the army of MaxPax is. But he does blink into the main base. Who can maybe get the forge? Well, man, that's something. That's actually a pretty big pickoff. And it really hurts for MaxPax. This is right before +1 finishes up. I don't like where he decided to warp in those Stalkers. So it's not just the forge. Loses 3 Stalkers. Well, Gerald, welcome back to this game. Still behind if you ask me, but that was about as good as it was ever going to get for him.
Tell you what, Kevin, like getting that forge kill as well with the upgrade, like stopping it entirely, like he didn't get the +1 there. That's actually really big. And I'm looking at the resources lost tab too. It's kind of funny that MaxPax is still ahead, but he's the one that lost twice as many resources, which is no surprise with how that engagement went. Oh, nice pounce.
Yep, finds a couple of Stalkers, blinks on top of them. Good blink again. Obviously, his blink is going to be ready a little bit quicker than the one of Gerald, but he doesn't want to take the risk. Yeah, it might be a bit uncomfortable for MaxPax. I mean, this is not like a Marine battle, right? Like, upgrades matter in PvP, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's as big of a deal as when a bunch of Marines with Stim and Medivacs go at it against each other. That's where you can really see the difference. Here, I feel like raw numbers should be good enough. I gotta say, MaxPax does not have an overwhelming army here, so definitely needs to be careful. He's got that prism in the back. Gerald actually feeling like he can take this fight. He's gonna push it back, and well done by Gerald, man. He's really making MaxPax work for it, despite the fact that he took so much damage from those 6 random Stalkers in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised that MaxPax was taking these fights. He's getting a lot of the tech stuff, like the Temple Archives, getting the Immortals out. Oh, goodness, this goes from bad to worse for MaxPax as well. Gerald's more than back in this game, Kev. He might actually be taken, like he's going to be +2 against +0 maybe for a potential fight.
That is sick, but he also is still a bit behind in workers. He's going to be behind in the gas income. Like MaxPax is mining of 6 gases, while Gerald is only mining of 4 gases. And more Archons, well, spark more joy in PvP, let me tell you that much, when you're both making Archons and Zealots. But Gerald is doing whatever he can. He's showing us here that he's absolutely no pushover. And it does seem like he wants to hit a +2 timing. Now, if the Archon count is close to even 2, then I do start believing. And MaxPax is even going up to 4 bases, not expecting his opponent to attack him. That Zealot somehow misses the army on the left side. Is it happening, man? This really would be robbery in broad daylight if Gerald still wins this game. But I'm with you. I'm starting to kind of believe.
Okay, so the +1 is soon to hit for MaxPax. And if he does fight on his side of the map near a battery, it could be, does get a bit of a scout off, but that's 4 Zealots getting chopped off straight away here. Gerald's definitely got a nice position here at the bottom of this ramp as well.
Yep, there are a lot of batteries at the 3rd, so that's why Gerald doesn't want to be, and that's why he's kind of trying to open things up in the natural. Blinks forward there. Gerald is really doing an absolutely amazing job in making MaxPax sweat. He's still down in workers, but he's up quite a bit in army supply. He's going to try to even out the Archon count, but yeah, the longer this goes on, the worse it gets for him, man. 4 gases against 6 is not something you're going to win, so I feel like if Gerald wants to make something happen, it needs to happen sooner rather than later.
MaxPax has been so patient here, though. Look at these Archons just really chonking those Zealots, and he needs to be careful, does Gerald, but now he blinks in with the Stalkers, picks off an Archon. A lot of his Zealots are bleeding out here. MaxPax's patience is really paying off here, though. He's staying alive. Even the Zealot dealing damage.
Gerald needs to start chrono boosting his gates or something, because he's got quite a bit of energy on these nexus and he's floating some money. So this is really where you just want to go home for a split second, not with your army, but just with your camera, and chrono boost the hell out of all those gateways so you can start keeping your money low. That's a questionable blink by the young Danish phenom, if you ask me. And Gerald is really starting to do it. That's unbelievable, because it's so hard to get a comeback in games like this, but he has Gerald already finding 7 probes too, and he's still just taking really good trades on the low ground. That upgrade advantage really paying off.
Yeah, Gerald's even defending back at home. Wow. This is getting a little bit messy here, but these Stalkers in the natural as well. Now Gerald getting a bit of a sandwich, but joins in with the Stalkers right in the nick of time as well. Wow. Gerald, what a surprise in the first game, because, yeah, I thought he was super dead this game, but what a comeback by the Polish player.
I really felt he was ultra dead. I can't believe it. I can't emphasize on how difficult it is to win games like this if you're Gerald. It felt like he had nothing going for himself for quite some time. A disastrous start. And it all starts with a couple of Stalkers that blink into the main base. It's like, okay, you kill a Forge. Yeah, that's nice and all. You kill 3 Stalkers, sure. But your opponent is still mining so much more. And it's just going to head into a stronger army. Even that final attack, man, it's not like, oh yeah, you can just A-move and maybe get lucky because you have +2. No, he was very methodical about it. The way he split off some units, the way he busted open the natural, the way he got deeper and deeper. That is a really impressive victory by Gerald.
Yeah, because that was a big comeback, like, for sure. It also felt like he played his opponent a little bit. Like he went for the gateway, didn't go for the second gateway, obviously, then went for the Cybercore on the high ground, and they obviously know each other. And you can definitely say that and see that watching them. But yeah, what a beautiful comeback. And I didn't expect that from Gerald, honestly. I felt that MaxPax was just kind of going to lean on his advantage that he had. But Gerald did exactly what he had to do to get back into that game.
Well,
I do feel, though... Oh,
yeah,
you go. You go
ahead. No, you go, Benjamin Baker.
Oh, shucks, Kevin. I love it. I do feel that maybe that second move out from MaxPax, where he kind of just sprinkled away a few Zealots, didn't really get anything done, and kind of went back home with his tail in between his legs. I think that was maybe just a bit overzealous, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I was about to bring that up. I feel like that point that you made is like, this attack wasn't necessary because you're up in workers. You're trying to catch up in upgrades, but you're already attacking into Archons and stuff. You're going up to 4 bases a bit later. It's like, what is this fight supposed to accomplish? Like, yeah, there was a War Prism there, but like if MaxPax would have just hard stopped at 55 probes and he had 10 plus gateways and he's like, I'm gonna end it. Sure, maybe that actually would have gotten the job done. But it was like, we're gonna sort of fight right next to your nexus, which means, yeah, I have a prism, but that prism is a bit further away. But you get the immediate reinforcements. There was no reason to be there. But I still didn't think that that was like a game-ending mistake or anything. I do think MaxPax got a little bit unlucky with first his Zealot on the left, doesn't see the army, and then he sets up 4 Zealots for a run by. They run straight into 100 supply of Gerald. And it's like all these little things that start adding up. But yeah, once more, impressive victory by Gerald. Like, if you have Disruptors and the other guy doesn't, yeah, you can be down 40 supply in a base, but then it makes sense that you make comebacks. But when you're both making Zealots, Archons, and Stalkers, yeah, these kinds of comebacks are incredibly hard to pull off. Just very well done.
I'd love to go through, or I'd love to speak to MaxPax about some of his decision-making process that game, because the first move out, maybe he just spotted, because he did have the Oracle the whole time, maybe saw the Twilight Councils a bit later, maybe he did so much emphasis on his own blink, you know, getting it out with the chrono boost. I don't know, but he was so confident about that move out that it just made me think, every other move out is going to make sense, right? But yeah, that latter one didn't at all. Anyhow, getting into the second game of the series, spawning over in the bottom left-hand side, 1-0 up. It's not MaxPax, it's Gerald.
In the top right side of Jagannatha, we're looking at the main base of that young Danish phenom, an absolute grinder of the European Pro Tour weeklies, plays in all 3 regions now, wants to make it to the playoffs for the 2nd season in a row. It is MaxPax.
It's very cool to welcome very good, very new players to the scenes. I know, like MaxPax is obviously one of them. We have to stop calling him a newcomer at this point just because of, you know, how solid he has been, and I think he's absolutely here to stay. But players like Zaun as well in Korea, also doing exceptionally well, fairly new face, at least on the pro scene. I know he's apparently been around for a while.
Yeah, I think both of them have just been around for a while. It's just very hard in general to break into that upper echelon of whether it's the foreign scene or the Korean scene. But yeah, it's safe to say that Zaun has really done it with the good runs in the GSL Super Tournaments. And obviously MaxPax has been able to do it in the European scene by having deep runs in the weeklies, making it into the playoffs of the DreamHack Masters. He really is becoming... Ooh, that's a weird Cybercore, man. That Cybercore is pretty far forward. Huh, I don't like that wall off very much.
I'm so used to the... I think it might have been a bit of a misclick by MaxPax. The gap, right? Like next to the gateway. So whatever unit you make can pop out immediately to block off a wall, if it is. I know it's only a small portion of the game, but definitely unusual.
Yep. Could also be because Gerald was being annoying with his probe there, and you don't want to have your cybernetics core delayed by 6 or 7 seconds, because believe it or not, cybercore blocking is a thing.
Yeah, who'd have thought in 2000... Oh, I mean, obviously it's become a really standard thing, but when I first saw the cybernetics core blocks and stuff, I was like, you what? It took me a while to figure out that it's just more efficient than the gateway in every possible way, but yeah, it's really useful.
Yeah, but of course, like also having your probe next to the other guy's probe when they want to build the cybercore, because if you can just prevent it from going down 2 or 3 times, that means that you have a 5 or 6 second tech advantage, and that's a pretty big deal. Now, Gerald, has he scouted the Stargate? Yes, he did. He's got his probe right next to it, so he knows what MaxPax is doing. And this game is going to be a bit weird, man. Gerald is sending out 1 more probe, but oh, that's such a good scout by MaxPax. MaxPax is adept, saw that probe go towards the top left, and I think that's a massive tell.
Do you think it was not worth chasing after it with the adept? Like, he must have seen it though, right? Because he's putting a shield battery here at the front.
Yeah, I know. He definitely saw it because the adept even chased it for a split second. I think what he wants to do is make sure that he knows that Gerald is expanding or not. Because at this point, it's a bit scary for MaxPax to just drop that Nexus. It seems like he is going to do it based on the amount of money he has. But you really want to know if your opponent has a Nexus or not. Because if they don't, well, that's when you know you can go ham on the defensive batteries. If they do, yeah, you can respect an extra probe moving out. But you also know you need to take care of your own economy. Otherwise, you fall too far behind.
Maybe this is what happened in the first game, by the way. Like, MaxPax, he wasn't about that blocking life. He was just like, I'm going to tech up, get the Stargate and stuff, whereas Gerald commits 100 minerals, the 150 extra minerals with the Cybercore to the block. Maybe that's the reason that MaxPax is just able to get this out a little bit quicker. Oh, that's a nice scout by MaxPax with his Stalker. Yep.
Yeah, he was looking for it. There is that Oracle, by the way. Fly. Oh, no, MaxPax too busy chasing the probe. Sorry, Niall, but he took a lot of shots on that Oracle. It does live, but that's not really the way you want things to start off. I have the feeling that MaxPax is really feeling the pressure. I felt he was playing real well in the first few minutes, and now he's like, oh my god, how did I lose that game? Because you know how pro gamers are, Ben. You've been there before. It's really hard to get over games where you feel like that's a guaranteed win and you mess up. It's kind of hard to keep it together sometimes, and I feel that MaxPax has already made a slip up or 2 in this game.
He absolutely has. I mean, Gerald, he's now the one with a slight economic advantage. He hasn't started up any tech, like any super tech, right? He's got the Twilight Council out, so he starts to blink up a little bit later than MaxPax. I mean, there's not much in it at the moment, but no, you're absolutely right. And that thing that we talked about where he said he didn't like being the favorite, well, he was classed as a bigger favorite against Gerald than Showtime was against Sort of, and that kind of stuff. Like
which is very out of line behavior by Twitch chat, by the way. But
it's super out of line because Gerald's really damn good. Like, this is always going to be a bit close. But yeah, that kind of stuff can start getting to you a little bit, I feel.
Nice job by Gerald here, having that safety battery on the low ground. This is also a very random move out. A couple of stalkers and a Void Ray. If you don't have that battery there, you can spider out of control real quick. With the battery, you're fine. MaxPax is going to send the Oracle into the main base. I think looking for a juicy stasis trap. He has to be careful that he doesn't... Oh, that stasis will go up. Hold on.
Yeah, decently handled though on both sides. I do feel.
Oh, stasis! Nice,
Yoink.
but the thing is, MaxPax doesn't have a pylon here. It doesn't have a prism. So yeah, just because 4 or 5 units are frozen, does that mean that your last 3 stalkers in a void ray can run into that natural? The answer is no. I'm sure that Gerald got scared for a split second, but nothing to worry about.
It's kind of like where a magician pulls a rabbit out of a hat, and he's like, aha! And it's like, yeah, then what? It's like, nothing. Gonna go back home now, take a third, and that's about it. Like both of them starting up their thirds at least, and yeah, I think after everything's said and done this game, we're at a very even game.
Yeah, I think I like it a little bit more for Gerald, just because I feel like the Void Ray contributes absolutely nothing in games like this. And I feel like in a way it's wasted supply. Like, sure, there are moments where it can work out, but most of the time I feel like it just slows you down. So I think I prefer it a little bit for Gerald, but not by a whole lot. He does have the Robo, and Robo can give you Observers, and Observers... Revelation is great, but I think I prefer Observers.
Yeah, he's also making sure that he's getting well, he's stacking up a bit of gas here. Maybe we'll see like a Templar Archives come down soon or something. MaxPax going for the Dark Shrine. Doesn't necessarily mean for DTs only. Can be used for making his own Archons, of course. But so far, they're both being very good about scouting, just making sure that their opponents aren't up to any cheeky shenanigans.
I'm actually a bit worried for MaxPax here, and I don't know why, because he is 3 workers ahead, and it's not like he's that far behind in upgrades, but he's taking that triangle location, and I feel like that one is a bit easier to attack in general. Now, maybe MaxPax wants to be attacked, but if he loses that battery or Gerald swings around via the left side and runs into the natural, snipes the battery there, I just feel like we are gearing up for a pretty powerful attack of Gerald, who's going up to a lot of gateways. Is it just 10?
It's going to be up to 10, yeah.
Such a big gateway advantage. He's going to go straight into the Templar Archives. I look at the DTs of MaxPax. Is there potential? Yeah, there is potential. But let's see if they can actually hit the right base.
Kevin, he just used Blink to kill that pylon. Okay. I thought he was going to get collapsed on there. I was like, that is so risky to use your Blink right there and then, and not like as a getaway measure. But the supplies are kind of deceiving at the moment, because MaxPax has not committed to the same amount of gateways as his opponent. He's actually relying on just 4 right now. So if Gerald does choose to just start pumping out nothing but units, does take a 4th though behind all this, but he's in a safe position as Gerald.
We have 1 Dark Templar running towards the left side. It seems like MaxPax doesn't really want to go too ham on the DT investment, and I can't blame him for it. MaxiPaxi is adding a Robo Bay, as he's got all of his gases up and running. So he can obviously get some defensive Archons, and it seems like he just wants to get a couple of Disruptors out. Second robotics facility has been warped into. I'm still very worried for MaxPax. This would actually be our first proper upset of the DreamHack Masters fall if Gerald takes this series, especially if he takes it 2-0.
I mean, absolutely not what any of us anticipated, right? We all thought MaxPax was the favorite.
And Twitch chat!
And Twitch chat, they were the real, like, I said 2-0, but 2-0 does not entail 89%, okay? That was wild.
That really was wild. Well, we have our Disruptors on the way. And I kind of feel that Gerald really could have made some magic happen when he had 10 gateways and MaxPax only had 5. No, he is right when I say that moving out. I believe that the observer of MaxPax has seen this move out. I like the defenses there. It's really hard to attack into cannons and batteries. MaxPax definitely is a little bit on the ropes, but a couple of Disruptors, 1 good Nova. Stasis Trap. He could fire Nova there. Oh, nice job by Gerald, actually. Nova does go forward. One of them should go off, right? Both of them actually go off. All right, well, that's a really good start of this fight for MaxPax.
What happened? Did he just misclick on the Disruptors there with his Stalkers, or?
Oh my god. What a train wreck of an attack. He blinks into 2 Disruptors, doesn't kill them, and then runs into a Stasis Trap too on the left side. So I was worried there, but excellent defense by MaxPax. And it seems like the DTs have also picked off the cannon at the 3rd base of Gerald. He does have 1 more cannon here. Careful, MaxPax. Loses 1, loses both.
Here, the Hug of Doom. Archons have never been hugged with more death.
Well, that was a disaster of an attack.
Yeah, well, Kevin, how's that worry for MaxPax feeling now?
I'm not worried at all. Never any doubt. 89%, baby.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that went absolutely awful for Gerald, and Yeah, what does he do from here? Like, he's getting his own, well, he's getting his own disruptors, which is nice, but
yeah.
Like,
I don't think this was as bad as the previous game. Like, obviously, that attack was a disaster, and now he's just like, all right, I shouldn't do that again. But MaxPax has been investing a lot in static defenses, so I don't think MaxPax really feels confident to run to the other side of the map immediately. And I think Gerald has time to catch up in the disrupt account, so I'm not super concerned as I was in that first game for Gerald. But yeah, obviously, he needs to up his aggressive game a little bit, because we can't afford another attack like that.
If MaxPax was feeling a little bit shaky, you know, which can happen after you're 1-0 down, I do like the fact that he slowed down this game a lot and just went to very good fundamentals, right? Like, it's not necessarily the MaxPax that I'm always used to seeing, but he's showcasing that he's very good at... Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
How fast are those balls, man? That's 3 disruptor kills. Oh my goodness. No. Oh, I finally lost one. That was still a 3-for-1 trade, though. Great job there by MaxPax. And just when I thought Gerald was getting ready to catch up in the disrupt count, well, if you lose 3 disruptors like that, that's insane usage of the acceleration zone by MaxPax, man.
Absolutely is. And oh, that base as well got blinked on by those DTs. The cannon is taken out, but there's another cannon. So I think Gerald's actually... Oh, no, that cannon. These probes now going to be right for the pickings, and MaxPax just winning on both sides here.
MaxPax was actually flooding quite some money there for a split second, but he just wiped in 10 Stalkers. Needs to be careful against the disruptor still of Gerald, of course, but okay, some decent connections there by our Polish pro, but still losing those initial 3 disruptors hurts and losing those Stalkers. Oh my goodness, that's a spicy one.
You know, sometimes I see these wall pins, Kevin, like, here in your face, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, that's crazy.
It's not the first poor warp in we've seen today, that's true. It's a little bit adventurous, could have probably warped him in the safest spot, especially when you know your opponent is hovering around there with a bunch of disruptors too. MaxPax is taking a pretty commanding lead in this game at this point. Gerald has lost 4,000 resources more than MaxiPaxi did. And at this point, we basically need some absolute magical purification novas on the side of Gerald, or there is no way for him to win this one.
This positioning from MaxPax is really good. I like the little sneak, but that was kind of lucky. That disruptor, the Nova only lasted a certain length of time. Both stacking up on money here. That is so many DTs.
Yeah, obviously this is very tense. Nice disruptor from the downtown there by Gerald, but at the same time, MaxPax getting cash money shots on the top. I mean, we are just trading some serious heavy blows here. They are obviously in favor of MaxPax, though.
But this is Gerald's first counterattack, right? Oh, this observer perfectly placed. I don't know if there's... Actually, recalls back home. Poor DTs, man. They've recalled into the wrong side of town.
Hey, Gerald has... Where are the Stalkers of Gerald? Okay, they're all the way on the right side getting ready for another DT run by. So Gerald basically defending this base with nothing but disruptors. And actually kind of gets away with it. These Dark Templars are getting a range of a cannon, so MaxPax needs to get the hell out of there. I really love that he hovers on the edge of the acceleration zone, because all of these guys are super high level, so you kind of know how far shots go. Oh, that's a good one. My goodness, Gerald finally getting that shot that he's been looking for. He takes out 3 or 4 disruptors at once, but he's still on the back foot.
He certainly is, but I mean, this has been explosive in every way, shape, and form, right? Like, I really thought that MaxPax was going to really start leaning on him, and he's done a good job of expanding behind this as well, but Gerald, to say he's been so on the ropes, he's been doing a damn good job of just fighting back.
And even finding some APM apparently to get that prism to the top left side, warp in a couple of Zealots and DTs, take out this Nexus. Now Rico is not available anymore, because he just recalled not too long ago. MaxPax is going to show up with his army at the front one more time. I think he just wants to get this Nexus. Doesn't quite get it. Missed target there. Oh, careful. These shots, these fights are nerve-wracking, Ben.
They certainly are. And what's the disruptor count for both of them? 9 and 6. Like, these are numbers you really have to respect on both sides. And MaxPax definitely has a good bank that you can warp in quite a bit of anything. But Gerald equaled out the bases. That's huge.
MaxPax has 35 Stalkers at the moment. 35, that's insane. Good job there sniping the Observer, but MaxPax had a backup ops, so he immediately snipes the ops of Gerald too. But vision is everything in these Stalker Disruptor wars. It is insane. Oh, no! That's it. That's the shot that MaxPax was looking for. And this one is actually going to connect too, so he gets another one. Just when it felt that Gerald got very close to stabilizing, MaxPax gets the Nova that Protoss dreams are made of.
The fact that MaxPax stays for so long that these Novas are coming, you know, my old hands, I'm just like, quick, get out of there, but, oh man. MaxPax, he's just kind of roaming now outside of Gerald's base with more army. How many DTs was that on the left side? That's quite an army as well. Like, Gerald, he's trying to expand despite being under so much pressure, which is kind of what you have to do, right? But,
no
it's hard.
Yep. MaxPax tries to pick up one more disruptor there. That was not quite work out. I love the Battle of the Observers, and I really love that MaxPax, as soon as he felt like he could afford it, invested in Observer speed. I think it's one of the most important upgrades in games like this. Because once more, vision is everything. Vision is what allows you to land those great shots to begin with.
Yeah, and these Observers just trailing this army now. MaxPax just choking out his opponent slowly but surely, just stopping him from taking a fifth. And what's this? Transitioning to, would you imagine that's Carriers, Kev? Tempest?
Yeah, I would say Carriers, but I also think it's a bit silly when you're pushing this hard and when you're clearly winning. I don't think you really want to put like 24 supply stuck in Stargates for a long time, because we know that it takes a while to build Carriers. So if this would be a couple of Tempests, I really wouldn't hate it, but we'll see what he actually decides to go for. MaxPax is playing a beautiful game because he is in a way containing him. It's just a very mobile contain, but he is containing him on 4 bases.
Yeah, and I mean, we can only look at one screen at one time, but he's doing a damn good job of just making Gerald's life so ridiculously hard.
Kill the Nexus, battery overcharge, heal up the Nexus, battery overcharge versus DTs. Turns out DTs are better than battery overcharge.
Cool. Could have told you that a long time ago, Kev. No. Oh, these disruptors. No, the DTs, they're having a field day. Nothing can shoot back. And Gerald loses quite a chunk of his army there. I mean, the Zealots do save the day, fortunately for him, but this is getting rough now. It's getting real rough. Oh, what a shot.
Yeah, one disruptor does connect with a lot of these Stalkers, but Gerald's still losing some spicy units. But this is kind of what I was a bit worried about. Now I feel MaxPax loses his momentum because he's got 24 supplies stuck in those Stargates. Now, obviously, if you can just take a straight-up fight with 4 carriers and all the interceptors get unleashed, sure, that's amazing for you. But I also think it's a tiny bit risky. I kind of feel like if it ain't broken, don't fix it. And I feel that MaxPax was just winning the game straight up. Gerald was running out of money. Now this game is going to be slowed down a little bit. Carriers are great, but sometimes these very mobile Stalkers can find some good fights.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Gerald's army, I mean, it's a decent one, right? Like, you have to respect it quite hard. He has dropped down to 4 disruptors, but that's a lot of gateway units, which can absolutely ravage your base if he does so please. Those DTs, they don't even know that just ran into 4 observers there with that little Stalker squad. But, Gerald getting the counter damage that he was looking for.
Yeah, Gerald is going to take out this base in the top left side, but now MaxPax is just going to get on top of this base. The interceptors will go out. Carriers have their +1 attack now too, so they're going to be a little bit more feisty. And I wonder if Gerald feels like this is a moment to recall, or does he want a base trade? I'm not quite sure what he wants to do. But you got to deal with these carriers eventually, one would say.
Absolutely. I was almost a little bit surprised there that MaxPax didn't try and keep him up that ramp with that amount of disruptors at the bottom. So I feel that that's a hard one to get yourself out of. I guess the problem for MaxPax here is he is maxed out, so warping in units defensively. He can do it now after losing all those probes, but Gerald's definitely making a situation out of this, and maybe one that he shouldn't have done, and MaxPax is having to respect it as well.
If these two armies just run into each other and everything is at the same place, obviously the army of the carriers is going to win. But what Gerald needs to do is try to make this game super hectic, super scrappy, and then somehow pounce on these carriers when they are a little bit exposed. Carriers and disruptors together are one hell of a combo, because if you blink into the carriers, the disruptors will kill you. He's got flanking disruptors coming in. Perfect shots there by Gerald. And is this the moment where he can blink onto these carriers?
Oh my goodness, is he doing it? I mean, these carriers are in a great spot. 2 carriers go down. Nice focus fire by Gerald. He's even got his warpins right next to him. MaxPax, he actually has to get home. And Gerald, he might be on the chase here, but MaxPax, he's not doing just one thing at once. He's fighting over on the left base, denying the 5th base, and yet again of Gerald. And now Gerald, he's actually down to just fact, did he lose his natural nexus as well? I didn't even see that. Oh, no, okay, he didn't. But he lost his third base, and now he's down to... Oh, he's dribbling when it comes to income.
Yeah, I think in the end it was barely good enough for MaxPax, but that got risky, man. Really good job with the carrier positioning, putting them above those bushes or the trees, whatever it is. Because otherwise they would have died real quick, right? Because that was an insane amount of stalkers by Gerald. And if they would have just all been able to be in range of the carriers, those carriers would have gone down quick. There's actually a chance that this game would have slipped away. Now I feel like it's still MaxPax's game, but damn, Gerald is making MaxPax work for it. I am enjoying the hell out of this PvP, and I'm really impressed by the level of both players.
Absolutely. It's got to be said that Gerald is tenacious, man. What a lion when it comes to battling in games that maybe, you know, everybody thought you were super dead in, but dealing with that many carriers, I mean, this is rough now. And oh, he blinked. Does avoid the disruptors, but these carriers, I think Gerald's going to run out of steam at this point. Oh, does blink in here. Does pick off one straight away.
Yeah, but he's going to lose that. He's going to lose that fight. This is not really a fight that he can win anymore. The DPS of all these carriers is a little bit too high. The Zealots are going to push the Stalkers away too. And these kinds of fights would be okay if Gerald was on like 6 bases and is sitting on 2k, and has, I don't know, 1 million gateways. Then you can do that kind of stuff. But at this point, losing a Stalker actually hurts for Gerald, because MaxPax has just done a tremendous job in killing his economy. What a game this has been. This is probably my favorite game of the season so far. I can't believe how wild this was. There were so many faces of this game. But in the end, it does seem that the young Danish phenom is going to send this into a game 3.
Absolutely, and I'm happy. I'm happy to see it go that way, you know? I think they've both been a very good match for one another. Both been handling the situations, or especially the build orders, very differently, but both know what they like to play with and feel comfortable with. Gerald, he's going to stick in this one, but I don't think he can really get it going, and will get home to defend, but when you see that army, Kev, there's not much you can do about it.
You say that this army is better than the other army.
If I was Tillerman, I'd be like, that army is better than your army, Kev.
There's nothing you can do. Battery gets picked off. Gerald still running around with a couple of Stalkers in the top left side. Does get an additional kill on the Nexus. I mean, 10 Nexus have been killed in this game. 6 on the side of Gerald, 4 on the side of MaxPax. You don't see that every day in a PvP. Yeah, there's really no stopping this carrier army, and I think MaxPax knows it. The Stalker count is at this point 26. There are 7 carriers. I mean, yeah, if it's just 7 carriers by themselves, sure. You have to worry about the gateway units of MaxPax. You have to worry about these disruptors too. I think that Gerald knows it, that his time in this game is done.
And your last base against mass carriers is the one that's right next to this big open water. And oh my goodness.
That very satisfying final shot there for MaxPax lands it in the middle of 7 or 8 Stalkers. My goodness, what a game. But oh, that one fight where Gerald got those 2 disruptors in from the top, came through the acceleration zone, blew up those 6 disruptors. If it wasn't for those bushes there, if that's flat ground, those Stalkers actually blink onto the carriers much better than they were currently, because now they were kind of hovering on the edge, right? And it's a bit awkward because like the front line can shoot, and maybe the second wave, but their low Stalkers couldn't shoot. That really got real close, and that game almost slipped away. Because if you lose all those carriers and you lost all your disruptors, it takes a while to build it up again. It's a really fun game.
It was really fun, but you're absolutely right. Those flanking disruptors by Gerald, that one shot got like 6 or so. It was like, holy crap, now we can actually get in there with the Stalkers, because I can't be alone in this. We were both looking at that and it's like, okay, Gerald can't win. Like, this fight is going to go really bad. But then, holy crap, did he make that super damn close. Gerald likes talking in the lobby. He seems like a very nice dude. He's like, this late game was almost as good as But Always games today. But yeah, I think these two are very nicely matched. It's nice to see teammates go at it. It's the second team kill of the day, I do believe. First one being the Team Liquid one. It's nice to see this one go to a 3rd game as well, and it will be Becker Industries as well to finish it off.
Yeah, I think that's on purpose, which makes a lot of sense, right? You want to put the teammates against each other first, because otherwise, if it's the final play day and MaxPax needs to win to advance, and he plays against his teammate, you don't want to do that. We obviously try to keep it as fair as possible in this tournament, so One hell of a series. Definitely not the 89% Twitch chat. That was super out of line. And we'll remember this one for a while. Let's see who actually gets the W in our PvP. Our second PvP of the day. As our final game, believe it or not, is going to be played on Beckett Industries. Where is Wardy? Huh? He says it never makes it into the map in a best of 3. Well, Wardy was wrong, man.
And in a PvP as well, of all things. Anyhow, spawning over in the top right as our red Protoss, it is MaxPax.
In the bottom left side of Beckett Industries, we are of course looking at the main base of the Polish Protoss, playing one hell of a series so far. It is Gerald.
Kevin, yeah? I was thinking to myself, I was like, if there's one map that MaxPax won't go for the low ground gateway, it's gotta be Beckett, right? But nope, even on this rush distance map, he's like, you know what? Low ground gateway it is, low ground pylon, the whole shebang. I'm not sure how I feel about it on this one.
MaxPax is incredibly good in defending aggression. I almost feel that for Gerald, the best thing to do is to pretend to be aggressive, right? Like you take away some ice from MaxPax on the map, you gun down that first probe, but then you expand behind it immediately. Because MaxPax is actually, in a weird way, he wants you to be aggressive because he's so confident that he's got the optimal defense that will actually put him very far ahead. But if you keep him in the dark, if you make him play a guessing game, then I think the low ground expand becomes very uncomfortable to play.
Yeah, I've got like questions in my head. Like, you've played against Gerald recently, or not that you can remember?
Oh, absolutely, I have. Why?
Okay, does he also scout against you with a scouting probe before making his gateway even?
No, I don't think he scouts that early against me. He's like those phoenixes, I can see them later, you know?
Yeah, because he's doing that against MaxPax, which goes to show that he's playing the player a little bit too, right? The fact that he knows that he likes to do this and do it on any map, not just the ones with the ramp, and goes for that early scout just as a kind of precaution. Then he skips the second gateway entirely and just goes to the side of all. Like, I like these little things in his play.
Yeah, probably because he doesn't want to play a scenario where MaxPax gets the one gate and then a Nexus before a Cybercore, and then he's like, oh, do I still want to like all in it or not? Because if that's not something you practice very often, you don't all of a sudden want to do an all-in, right? That you don't necessarily practice super often on a big moment like this, because this is going to be a competitive group. And of course, the cool thing about the DreamHack Masters is that each and every single win in the group stage also nets the players $125, I believe it is. That's making a semi-final of the European Pro Tour Weekly, Ben, for one best of 3.
It's absolutely not bad money, Kevin. Yeah, not much else to say, but also getting top 4 in the groups obviously nets you a bit more money, and both these players, they're going to look at that as definitely potential candidates to do that.
You know what's also sick is if you make top 4, you make it into the playoffs, and then you're automatically part of the next season of the DreamHack Masters. You don't even have to go through the qualifiers.
And those qualifiers are stressful, man. I know we've seen a lot of the same faces, but that just goes to show that they're all damn good. It is the top 32 in Europe, but it does remove a lot of worry, and potentially any of those strats that you've been cooking up over the off-season, you get to keep them secret.
You know, it was really, one of the coolest things about that last game was that fight near the acceleration zone. You know, I was memeing a little bit because of Cyril's famous line, how fast are those balls? What? But it's super cool because players at this level, we're all very good at calculating the range of the units, right? Like, you know where you can be, where you can't be against tanks, against disruptors, where stalkers can shoot and when they cannot shoot. But the acceleration zone, it just kind of messes with the distance, where normally you think you're safe. In this case, you're not safe. And it just gave MaxPax a bit of extra range on his disruptors to land a couple of great shots. I thought it was awesome. It's one of the very first times I've been truly excited over acceleration zones. But we gotta talk about the Dark Shrine, Ben. There is a Dark Shrine halfway done. MaxPax starts his Robo now. Yeah, he should be alright. But now he knows about the Dark Shrine, so he can just chrono boost the hell out of his first observer. I guess he's gonna be okay.
Yeah, getting the big scout off there is a big deal. So MaxPax totally in the know here. We look at the work accounts and stuff, exactly the same between the two players. MaxPax this game didn't opt for the Stargate. He did actually go for the more tried and true, the Sentries, the Stalkers. He's getting up his Forge now. How do you feel about this for Gerald? Like, he's obviously letting the Dark Shrine finish because it can be utilized for Archons, but when that kind of tech gets scouted so early on,
Yeah, it's not ideal, of course. You want to get lucky. Ideally, you straight up win because your opponent is doing some gateway aggression. These two adepts can be annoying. Nice movement on the units. So I wonder if he lets that finish up. He does. Okay. Force field. No? Okay.
No, he's just like, you know what? I'll lose some units. And 3 probes for his troubles and gets a big scout off here. I mean, the scout off here, he already had it done, but 3 probes for those 2 adepts. I mean, that's definitely not too bad.
Yeah, but the nice thing about a Dark Shrine is that you don't even need to warp in DTs immediately. Like, look, because MaxPax was so paranoid about the DTs and he was busy dealing with the Adepts, he actually walled himself in. Can we take a look at the natural MaxPax real quick? He let that pylon finish up by accident. He was so worried. He's like, okay, I'm chasing the Adepts, but this is when Dark Templars could run into my natural. There you can see that Dark Shrine already paying off just because of the amount of fear it puts into your opponent.
Indirect damage, Kev. Indirect damage for sure. Both of them start off their +1 about the same time. Neither player has taken their 3rd just yet, but I can't imagine that probe is out of that 3rd of Gerald's for no reason. And yeah, his 3rd does start up a little bit quicker, but it's MaxPax getting out the Warp Prism, and he is finishing up a couple of extra gateways here, so maybe he's looking to be a little bit aggressive.
And Gerald has Blink too, though, and Gerald has an Immortal. And other than that, these armies are pretty identical. So unless this Immortal just gets force fielded out and shoots at the Zealot, I don't think MaxPax can really get a whole lot done here. Gerald warps in 1 DT now. I kind of wonder where he's going to warp that in. Okay, so he's going to casually rally it to the other side of the map. Try to get lucky. He's going to run it into the army. Uh-oh, this is... Well, I can't believe MaxPax missed that. Yep, there was.
Oh, there is, yeah. I mean, that's very fortunate for that DT. Doesn't know how lucky he got, but that 3rd base. 3 sentries versus 1. And the shield battery isn't done yet either.
No, but can you really just blink on top of that Immortal? Imagine if a random Prism shows up and picks up that Immortal, drops it behind, you lose the game. So I can understand that MaxPax doesn't want to pull the trigger. As Gerald is going to try to get lucky with this 1 DT, but he realizes that there is an observer in place. They're playing at a high level, man. I feel like there's a lot of things that you feel like, oh, that can go wrong, that can go wrong, but they're really, you can see that they are very, very sharp in this series.
Absolutely. Gerald actually going for the very quick Robo Bay here. And I mean, if I'm him, like he hasn't been able to scout that much. He's actually using this DT almost like an observer at this point to get information. But yeah, feeling safe enough to start that Robo. Oh, I could get him quite a sneaky lead in this game, at least tech-wise.
Still very even on a knife's edge here, man, in Game 3. Well, I gotta say, I was excited for it when we had our previous break. I was like, Gerald MaxPax, that's gonna be fun. I didn't think it was gonna be this fun. I'm really feeling tense for just kind of both of them, and they are so evenly matched today. And I think that whatever is the outcome of this game, this should give Gerald a lot of confidence for the rest of the season. Because the DreamHack Masters Summer 2021 really did not work out for him. For the first time, he actually didn't make it into the playoffs. But this is just a really good showing by him, regardless of what happens here in Game 3.
Against somebody that a lot of Europeans regard as the best PvP player, right? In Europe, at least. So that's crazy that he's going so toe-to-toe. This game, though, I do feel that things are going to heat up quite quickly, quite soon. MaxPax hasn't started off his 4th Nexus yet. Dare say it's just a bit of time, and yes, there it goes. Does start up his own Dark Shrine on his side of the map. Oh, that's pretty ballsy going through there, man. But there is a Disruptor, it's the first one. Does take out 2 sentries to start things off.
We do have a Warp Prism flying into the main base. Now, this is where I think a defensive DT or 2 should be excellent. And that is exactly what Gerald does. But it is also important that you warp in like 1 little Zealot, so that Zealot can actually soak up the Zealot shots of your opponent. Or you can just battery overcharge. You can do that too. So Gerald's defense so far on point. MaxPax trying to go up to 4 bases himself. But Gerald is now pumping out 2 Disruptors at a time. While MaxPax doesn't even have a second Robo yet. Doesn't have a Robo Bay. This is not looking that hot for MaxPax. It kind of feels like either you get damage right now, right here, right now, or you drop your second Robo and the Robo Bay yourself. But that obviously means that you're going to have a hard time catching up in Disruptors.
Oh, I do like these DTs warping in the main because he's got the Observer there. So if there are DTs to deal with he's going for the Robo as well. Oh, I tell you what, beautiful wall to buy time by Gerald as well. This game is spicing up.
It's sick. They're honestly playing both so well. They're making a lot of correct calls there. Love that MaxPax brought his observers, so defensive DTs by Gerald are not just going to shut down any sort of harassment. Good job by Gerald getting the snipe on the Prism. Otherwise, it would have gotten worse. But now MaxPax's army is on the low ground. A couple of Stalkers blink across the force field, but there are Immortals in the mix too. Can we finally land a Nova? Sort of, but not before losing that base.
It's actually a big deal to lose a base, but supply-wise, like Gerald's actually, well, I was going to say he's been trading well, but he is actually quite a bit behind in the resources lost. Tab used the Disrupt to take out a DT. Nice.
Zero ops for Gerald at the moment. And he's supply blocked, and he actually has a Disruptor queued up. Oh, this supply block is big, man. He was already supply blocked, he queued up a Disruptor, he queued up an Observer, and now he's still supply blocked. MaxPax obviously is the reason he is supply blocked, because MaxPax killed all those pylons and the Nexus.
Oh, Disruptor. Oh.
How fast are those balls?
Mate, that was... I felt like he shot that just hoping he'd get something. It's like, yeah, he absolutely did. All right, okay, so MaxPax is just kind of continuing what he's doing, but he's also... Oh, that was a beautiful shot. He's also taken to his own Disruptors 2 at a time, getting Blink DTs as well. And back on his side of the map, he's been untouched. Like, he's been able to get 4 bases behind this while getting all the tech going as well.
Yep. Obviously, MaxPax needed to just create some chaos, because if you want to catch up in Disruptors, bro, you can't just sit on your side of the map, because then your opponent is going to start moving out with 5 Disruptors. And you're also going to find yourself in a very uncomfortable position. The flanking shot through the acceleration zone again. MaxPax is just the god of these zones, isn't he?
He's playing bowling with these zones, Kev. He really is. He shoots from afar, and boom, they hit, they score. But that really caught Gerald by surprise. I think that might be the first time they actually saw that Disruptors were on the field. And wow, that's a chaotic fight if I've ever seen one. But MaxPax definitely comes out ahead after the last minute or 2 of engagements.
Yep, you can see that in the battle report as well. I mean, it's a lot of numbers on the screen. I'm sure you guys saw something of it. But Gerald, it needs a little comeback, and that's why he's sending 3 Disruptors via the right side now. So he's got the flanking Disruptors coming in from the right. I don't know if MaxPax saw it. I don't think he saw it yet, but he's got another Observer coming in. And that is going to give him the idea of where these units are. At the same time, the DTs of MaxPax managed to break through, and they're going to take out that cannon. They take out the cannon. There's only 1 Observer, and that Observer is at the 3rd base or the 4th base of Gerald. It feels like MaxPax is just winning fights left, right, and center. Now snipes another Disruptor. My goodness, these games are wild, but I do know that MaxPax is getting the best of all these crazy trades.
Oh, I think that's it, Kevin. 25 probes going down. GG is called. MaxPax takes it in true firework fashion right there.